Good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to continue on transition because a lot of people get stuck in the wilderness, not knowing how to really prepare for what is to come, or they refuse to actually let some things go. There are a lot of people who want to live in the promise, whatever the promise is, whether it is your marriage or children or a home or a car, a business, whatever it is actually. But we want to get there. We all have the same thing, the same desire to get to the promise. Sometimes we feel like we cannot wait and we end up creating our temporary relief, which causes chaos. Tonight's message is titled "The Promise Stands and Strongholds Have to Fall," based on Genesis 21 verses 1 until 10. Can we just read it quickly? It's the story about Sarah and Hagar. Okay, so we read from verse 1 until 10. This is chapter 21. Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah, as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised him. Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah bore him. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him as God commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." And she added, "Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age." The child grew and was weaned, and on the day Isaac was weaned, Abraham held a great feast. But Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham was mocking. And she said to Abraham, "Get rid of that slave woman. Get rid of that slave woman and her son, for that slave woman's son will never share in the inheritance with my son Isaac." Oh. If you can look back at chapter 16, we see Sarah asking Abraham to sleep with Hagar because she was trying to help God out, like she was trying to manifest the promise that God gave to Abraham herself. And the problem with helping God is it costs. It costs a lot. And sometimes what we think is helping is actually causing more harm and pain. It adds sorrow, stress, and discord. Most of the time we'll help God because of unbelief. Yep. Because we do not really believe that he is a God who's going to do what he had promised, or he's a God that even remembers our name at times. We forget that God is not confined by time, so we put limitations on him, and we hope all will be well. The ramifications of the decisions we make can have long-lasting effects that will affect other generations to come. So when God makes us wait, it is not to punish us. Contrary to popular belief, most of the time it is to help us enter with clean hands. And sometimes God wants you to bring down walls before you occupy your land, so that whatever happens, you will not have any strongholds that could be your demise. In Joshua chapter 6 verse 1 through 6, I just want to read that because I want to show you what the Lord was trying to do with the Israelites as they were crossing over. I'm going to read chapter 6 and chapter 3 So chapter 6 verse 1 till 6 reads as follows. Now Jericho was tightly shut up because of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. Then the Lord said to Joshua, See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priest blowing the trumpets. When you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, have all the people give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse, and the people will go up, every man straight in. Yeah, I'm gonna end on 5. And chapter 3 verses 9 and 10. Joshua said to the Israelites, Come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive out before you the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites, Perizzites, Gigashites, Amorites, and Jebusites. We see there he's telling them beforehand that he's going to drive out all of these enemies, and he names them. He names all of them, and then he gives them a plan of what to do when they come in the walls of Jericho. So these walls represented strongholds, and as they prepare to tear down all these strongholds, it was preparation for them so that they could inhabit and plant in their new land, freely do so. And the story of Sarah and Hagar teaches us that God is actually faithful, even if we are not. His promises stand, even if we don't think it will come to pass or even believe that God is still with us. Strongholds have to fall so that you can enjoy the promise without the enemy bringing your mistakes in your face. Just like Sarah couldn't enjoy Isaac in the presence of Ishmael and Hagar, it is very important to remember that in transition, and as God takes you through each and every process, through each and every stage of the transition, because it's different stages, at the end prize is to occupy your land. It is to bring restoration. So with restoration, we understand there are people who occupy their land quicker than the others because they don't have much stuff to deal with than the other people. So just because someone is already in their promised land, it does not mean you are not going to get yours. The only difference between the two of you is that their land, their portion was not as hard or as deep as yours is. Remember, you went through so much. You went through a whole lot of trouble. You went through mistreatments. You went through trauma. You went through pain. You went through divorce. You went through all of these things, and you've been a victim. You've been victimized. You've been abused. You've been all of these things. So in order for you to occupy your land, you need to understand the walls that the strongholds and the walls that you need to break down are deeper or are higher than those ones who only had one thing to work out and then they're there, one thing to cross over and then they're there. And you need to remember that your journey is taking longer because you have been through much more. And because you've been through much more, there's a greater reward if you stay patient, persistent, and persevere and just wait upon the Lord. And when we speak about perseverance, we're not speaking about staying in situations that are actually designed to kill you. No, that is not what we mean. When we're talking about perseverance, we're saying hold on to the promise that God has given you. Even if the enemy is coming in like a flood, even if the enemy is trying to convince you it's never going to happen, even if people are telling you that your dream is never going to come into fruition, your dream is just too far-fetched, even if those same people who are coming against you is your own family. We've seen this with Joseph, when the brothers stripped him off of his coat and they threw him in a pit. We see this, and it was not the only time he was thrown in a pit. People bought him from that pit, and then he was still taken into another pit in jail for something that he did not do. So it's not that you have done something wrong. It's not that you have wronged God, because you have not wronged God. You have done what you could, and you have trusted God, and you have held on as much as you could. So hold on a little longer. Your time has come. You will not be ashamed. God is going to give you a double portion for your trouble. Do not lose hope. Do not be dismayed. He said he is doing a new thing, and it has sprung forth. Don't you see it? Don't you see it springing forth? Don't you see it? When God gives you a promise, it is gonna come to pass. When God says he's gonna do something for you, he is gonna do it. And he is not a man that he should lie. Our job is to wait upon the Lord. I like that scripture in Isaiah 40 verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So just hold on to the hope that you have. Don't let go of your dream. Don't let go of your promise. Just hold on tight, because you are almost there. Transition might look as difficult. It is that steep hill. You know, when you are someone who works out. My son and I recently started working out because I wanted us to learn to live a healthy lifestyle. And as we run in the mornings, there's an uphill we have to go through. Every time I go up that hill, I'm not a runner, so every time I go up that hill, it is so difficult. But I know that at the top is where I'm going to find my rest. So I push through the pain. I push through me being tired. I push through because I know what I want at the end of the day. I want to live a healthy lifestyle. And I know it's not going to be easy. And I know it's going to take time. And I know it's going to take patience. But I'm not rushing the process, because I know that those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. And I know when you work at something and you stay persistent and you persevere and you're patient with yourself and you stick to the plan, at the end of the day, you will see the results that you're hoping for. So with those words, I'm just here to encourage you that, you know what? The promise still stands, but the strongholds have to fall. They have got to go before you occupy, because we do not want to be experiencing a blessing and uncomfortable and being uncomfortable at the same time. Because look at Sarah. She had her blessing. She finally had her Isaac, but she could not enjoy her Isaac because Ishmael was mocking Isaac the whole time. So we need to understand, if we make our own promises, if we try to help God, we are going to find ourselves in positions or in spaces where we are not able to get rid of our strongholds, or we are not going to be able to enjoy the promises that God has promised us and has given us, because Ishmael keeps reminding us or mocking us and doing all of that. So with those words, please be encouraged. that your promise still stands. God has not forgotten you, and it is gonna come to pass. It is a matter of time. It is a matter, some of you, it is a matter of days, and some of you, it is a matter of weeks, and some of you, you might wake up in the morning and you hear good news. So do not give up. It is not time to give up yet. Just hold on a little longer. God is not a man that he should lie, and he will not disappoint you. Until next time, to God be the glory.